Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, good, oh, good. Do you have any idea why all these people are sitting in these chairs?
No.
Emmanuel.
So they can learn about bullying?
Yes,
Oh.
yes. This morning, we are asking you to be our teachers, and we are your students. And most of what I'm going to be doing in our time together is asking you questions. And what I need more than anything is for you to be as open and honest as you can possibly be, because we have so much to learn from you and we need you to share with us. And I want you to know that whatever we talk about and we share in this session this morning will be confidential. To whatever extent we can have that be in terms of other students in the school. You are being filmed because we want to share this with other school systems, and we want them to see what can happen if they give us the opportunity to be in your presence and learn from you. Does this sound like a fair deal? Okay? Everybody okay with this? All right. Now, this is my name. So my first name is SuEllen. What do you, SuEllen?
Oh, okay. Fried?
Fried. And that's what our children got called. All through school they got called fried chicken and fried potatoes. But our name is pronounced Freed.
Oh.
So this morning, when I ask questions and you raise your hand, if I call on you and I mispronounce your name, would you please correct me? Because I know what it's like to have a name mispronounced, and I want to honor your name the way it deserves, okay? Now, the first question I'm going to ask you is, how many of you have ever heard of child abuse?
Ooh.
Who can tell me what child abuse is? Who can tell me? Ricky?
It's when a grown-up or somebody older than you is beating you up or hurting you.
Okay, could you hear what Ricky said? She said it's when a grown-up or an adult is beating you, and what was the last
Or
word?
being violent.
Or being violent. Absolutely. What you might be interested to know is that when I was your age, we did not have the term child abuse in the English language. We had the term child. We had the term abuse. We didn't put those two words together until the 1970s. Prior to that time, going back many, many, many decades and generations, our society believed that children were the property of their parents, and parents could do anything to their children they wanted, and nobody should interfere. And that was awful. Yes, Emmanuel.
So back then, when your parents were like hurting you, they wouldn't go to jail?
They would not. And there was no way to protect you or keep you safe. So, but in 1970, we passed a law in every one of the 50 states that said no adult can abuse a child. But I think that if a child is hurting, it doesn't make any difference if the person that's causing you the pain is your parent or your peer, your classmate. I think if you're suffering, it doesn't make any difference if the person that's causing you to suffer is 35 or 10. I don't believe that any child deserves to be abused by anybody. So I believe that bullying is a form of child abuse. I think it is very serious. Now I want to tell you why this has become such a passion of mine. Many, many years ago, our daughter, when she was in college, worked in, I'm from Kansas. What do you think of when you hear Kansas? What do you hear? I'm going to call on Max. What do you think of when you hear Kansas?
A state?
It is a state. What do you think of, Chandra?
That it's probably nice and dry.
Right. What usually, do you have an idea? Okay, let me see. Is that Claudia? Nadia. Is that right? The Wizard of Oz. Most people, when I say I'm from Kansas, think about the Wizard of Oz. So here we are in Kansas, and there is this great big hospital. And there's a special unit on the hospital for children who have cancer. And my daughter, Paula, would spend her summers when she was in college working in this hospital on this special unit for children with cancer. How many of you know somebody who has had cancer? Who can tell me what happens if you have cancer and you get chemotherapy? Let me see if I can call on somebody else. What is your name, dear?
Larry.
Larry.
You can die from it.
You can, but it can also sometimes make you well. What else? Does anybody else know what happens with chemotherapy? Is it Dalen?
It make your hair fall out?
It makes your hair fall out. Thank you. That's a really important part. Let me go with the story, and when you raise your hand the next time to answer a question, I'll call on you first.
All right.
Okay, thank you. So there was this little girl in the hospital who had gotten cancer when she was 7, and she had chemotherapy, and it disappeared, and she was so happy. But when she was 10, the cancer came back really strong, and the doctor said, Kim, you're going to have to spend your entire summer vacation in the hospital getting massive doses of chemotherapy. So our daughter Paula and Kim got to see each other every week, June, July, and August, and they became really good buddies. But by the end of the summer in August, Paula and Kim knew that Kim was not going to survive. So at the end of August, Paula was going to go away to college, and Kim was going to go in the 5th grade, and they didn't know if they would ever see each other again. And so Paula asked if we could invite Kim and her mom to come to our house for lunch. And they did. And we were sitting there chatting and giggling and eating and visiting. And I heard Paula lean over to Kim and she said, Kim, are you looking forward to going back to school? And Kim said, oh my gosh, I wish it would start tomorrow. I have not seen a single friend for 3 months. I cannot wait till school starts. So then I heard Paula lean over to Kim and she said, Kim, do you have any concerns about going back to school? And you'll never guess what Kim said. She said, recess. I said, recess? With everything you have to worry about, Kim, how can recess be a problem? What do you think, Ricky?
People can make fun of her.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. Cameron?
Like since her hair fell out, people might make fun of her hair and bully her.
They did. In fact, they would pull her wig off of her head, and she would be standing there in the middle of the playground without her wig, and kids would form a circle, and they would point at her, and they would laugh, and they would make fun of her because she was bald. And my daughter and I never recovered from that conversation, and we could never forget about this adorable young girl who was trying to figure out how to let go of her life, her family, her friends, and her biggest problem was that kids would pull her wig up and make fun of her. So I started going into schools to talk to kids about what are we doing to each other? Why are we doing hurtful things? What could we do to make it different?